Okay, so let me share my screen and let's quickly dive in. All right. So as you can see from the dashboard, everything here is dynamic. If I click on South, click on East, as you can see, cost breakdown for East. If I choose another KPI, profit, you see profit breakdown for East, right? So what we have here, we have a dynamic header, we have dynamic color also. So if I choose Central now, you see the color has changed also. The background color has changed also. And you see everything is changing. Even this text is changing. For some of us, we like to drop comments and all that, right? So let's start. Let me start. Okay, so the first thing to do is to insert a shape. So when we insert a shape, this will form the background of my menu. Then I will copy it, Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V. I'll drag it down. Right, so this will form our background, right? So the first thing I will do is to create a measure as header, right? So for the benefit of this class, I'll create another measure. So I will create a folder so that I can all have them in the container, right? So let me create another folder. So what I do is I'll come to modeling. I'll click on new table. So when I click on new table, I'll call this my measure 2, which is equal to, then I bring in the bracket, then blank. And enter. So when I do that, by so doing, I've created another measure. Let me call this measure 2, so that it will be. Okay, so you can see the new table I just created. So I'll bring in my measures here. I'll say new measure. So I'll say header 2. Right, I'll say equal to selected. Are you selected value? So selected value. So when we select a measure, right? Let's say we select region, right? Right. We'll come back to this, but first let me create the background. We'll come back to this. Let me just leave this like this way. Then I'll create another measure, new measure. I'll call this BG. I'll say equal to, I will use switch for this. Then I'll say when the region is selected, I'll say region. Right, so I'll put a comma. So I'll say for the region we have west. So when it is west, so I'll say give me pink. Right. So when it is central, give me gray color. When it is, let me see what I have in the regions table. So in the regions table, let me see what I have, but let me just do it this way. Okay, beautiful. So let me go back to my BG. So when it is south, give me white. We can also leave it to be true. Let me leave it as true for now, right? So the next one is west, central, east. When it is east, give me light gray. Or let me just leave this to be light gray. Yeah. Right, and I close the bracket and I hit enter. Right. So for me to change this background, I will select this particular shape. Then I will come to style. Now, if you come to the field, you will see this. So I'll click on this FX, right? So when I click on FX, this gradient, I will change it to field value. Then I'll select background from my measure 2. Then I'll say OK, right? I will reduce the transparency a little. Then see if I click on the region now, central, right? Hold on. So I come here, I come to selection, I change this to single select. So it's not changing. So let me check what is actually wrong.
I think in the FX, you put, I saw header 2 instead of BG as a measure in there. Can double check.
All right. So when I select the region, it's supposed to change. Let me check this background. Right. Selected value, right? That's west, south, west. Okay.
If
so
you can
let's
hear me,
leave this for
David,
now.
I think
Come back
you
to
used
it. So that was how that was achieved. So after that, I removed the border. I removed the border. We don't need the border, so I bring it close. Then this one also, I remove the border. So I will do the same thing here. I'll change this one now just to a static color. So no need of using that. So I'll change this to this color. So after doing that, we insert this. I will change the color to white. Right. Okay.
David, can you hear me at all?
So I'll change the color of this to white.
I'm not sure he can.
Background. So I'll also increase the thickness. So I'll drag it down here, then adjust it. Just to show a demarcation between the menu section and the actual visual section. So if I come here, you observe that we still have the border there. So I'll remove the border too. We don't want the border. So we have successfully done that, right? So all right. So we have successfully done that. So the next thing we have to do now is to let's complete the header. So for the header, we say selected value. So we say and sales. We say and report, right? For now, we'll make this one sales report. We say sales report, right? For then and we do the selected value for year. And we hit enter at this point, right? So after doing this, I'll select the card visual. Then I select my header. As you can see, I've used DAX to write a dynamic header, but it's not coming out the way I want. There should be space in between these. So I'll introduce the space with ampersand, right? Hit enter. Right. So after doing this, it's time to format it. I'll remove the category label. Then I don't want any background, so I come to effect and I'll remove the background, right? Right. So I will adjust this to the top, right? I will adjust this to the top, right? So that was how this was achieved. So if I select another slicer and bring in my year to it, when I come to my date table and I bring my year and I select the year, so you can see where sales report for 2014. So I still come to my header and adjust it one more time for it to come out good. So after sales, I want space to be here, so I'll put in space, right? Even this place that we put a space here, we don't need to put it. I can just put the space in between here. Then I will hit enter. So it's telling me there is an error. Okay, I need to concatenate here. Then I will hit enter. Right. So that was how this was achieved. Then this one, I changed the slicer settings. I made this to be horizontal. Then I drag it to my right. I drag it up to a little. Then single selection. Then slicer header, I remove the slicer header. So that's what we did. So to save time, I will go back to the visual that I've already created, and I will explain one after the other all that we did and how it's working, okay? So having done that, so from this, I selected the slicer, that's what I did here. So you see, when we come to our measure, I created two different backgrounds. I created background, the main background for the page, and I created an inner background, right? So what I did here, right? So all this, I removed the background. So what I did there, I inserted another shape. So let's say I insert another shape, right? So I also changed the background color also. So that was what I did here to give us this. So after that, I brought in the stack column. Then I drag it to the right. Then this time around, I did a dynamic measure. But before I did that, I've already calculated some KPIs like profits. So I did profit against category, right? So let's just say sales rep. So sales rep, after that, I remove the background. I remove the background. So as you can see, then when you come to your x-axis, I remove the title. Then I change this to wine color, right? Then I remove the y-axis also. Then I also remove the title, right, from the y-axis. So that was how this was actually achieved, and that's the reason why. Then for the background here, I put a shadow, and that is what you can find here, and that's what you can find. So let's look at the background, the measure for the background. So I said switch. So when you select location region, if it is east that you have selected, return white. If it is white and west, return light gray. If it is south, return silver. And if none of these is selected and any other thing is selected, return pink. And that's the same thing I did for the inner background, right? For the inner background. So that was what we use in achieving all this. Then I brought the slicer, I put the year, and I did that. So the next thing I did was to do a dynamic measure. So for you to get a dynamic measure, you will create what we call a disconnected table, right? So when you come to home and you come to transform data, right? You will actually see how I created the disconnected table I called measure table. So when you click on the source, right, you will see how the data was entered. Now, if you want to edit this, right, you double click on it, on the source, so you can actually enter new data if you have new data to enter. But for now, we don't have any, so I close and apply. So if you come to your model view, you will observe that my measure is not connected to the table, and this measure table is not also connected to the model, right? So as you can see, this is a star schema, right? Where we have one fact table and we have 5-dimension table connected to the fact table. So that was how that was done, right? So for this, right, if you observe, I remove the concatenation of this. So basically, when you come to this place, let me create a new. So when you select a line graph, right, let's say you select profits and you select your date table. Right. So you see the way it's coming out, right? So I will click on this, right? To give me the month and the year. If I continue to give me the month and the year, just like that. So if I want to go back, I'll click on this. So basically I remove the quarter. I don't want the quarter and I don't want the day, right? So, sorry, I actually want the month. So I want the month. So what I did was to come to my x-axis, change continuous to categorical, right? To see the way it's coming, they are all concatenated. Then I scroll down and I remove concatenate label. So you see the way it's broken down. It's broken down into months, and you see the year underneath it. You see months, and you see underneath it. So I remove the title from the x-axis. Then the y-axis, I don't need it. And I also remove the title from the x-axis. Then I change the font color and the line. I just changed the format. So that was how that was achieved. I removed the background and I drag it down here, right? So the next thing I did after creating the disconnected table, right? After connecting, so I brought in a slicer and I drag it and I change the title here for just this visual. So I rename for just this visual and I call it KPI. So that's why you have KPI here and you have dynamic measure. So the next thing I did was to now drag the dimension table here, right, to my value field. So what did I do to the dynamic measure? So what I did, I said, I created a variable. I say selection equal to selected value, right? So if I select anything from the measure table, right, under the measure column, right, then return this. So alternatively, I said, if none of this is selected on default, right, return the value for sales, right? That's what I did. So for switch, I said true, selection equal to sales. When selection is equal to sales, let it be the measure for sales. Selection when it's cost for cost, and so on and so forth. So that's what I did. I did here, right? So that's what I did here. So see, if I select cost, so everything you see here, right? You see, it is the value for cost. What was the cost for this category? Technology, office supplies, product under this category, what's their cost? Well, for Central, what's the total cost? You see, everything is dynamic, right? So for the header here too, I did the same thing. As you can see, I did KPI title, right? And if you look at the measure, selected value, location, region, and I said total connecting with. So here you see, I said, if this value is blank, right? Say origin, that simply means if nothing is selected, right? If I don't select, see if I uncheck this now, let me come back to you. For me to be able to uncheck that, I have to come to selection and remove from single. So if I uncheck it now, can you see all West total, or region, or year? Can you see this, right? So, but I don't want it to function that way. So I'll come to back and activate this. So that's the effect of making it a single selection. And that's what basically we did around this. So the next thing I did was I did a dynamic text here, right? So what I did here, let me come back to this place. I selected a text box. So I said the highest ordered quantity, right? So when I go to this place, I said is, I click on value. I said highest ordered quantity. Highest ordered or highest ordered or whatsoever. So you see the value, then I put a comma, then I say save. So to bring it here, right? So each time I change, any filter I select, for example, south, you see the value is changing. I choose central, you see the value is changing. If I don't select anything at all, you see the value is also changing, right? So if I choose for profit, you see it did not change because profit does not have any effect on it. So everything here is actually dynamic. As you can see, the profit breakdown for all regions and all that. Then this was achieved with basically just text box, but I also made it dynamic. If I click on it, it will take us to the web page of it will take us to this website, right? When I click on it. So how was this achieved? So after, let me come to this page and demonstrate that. So I come to text. So when I come to text, right, I type what I want. I can say www.linkedin.com, right? After I centralize it, I drag this to fit. You can format it if you want. So I drag it. Then after doing this, I will come to insert. Then I come to buttons. I choose blank. Then I drag the blank here. I drag to fit, right? So I will remove the background. I don't want any background. I don't want button background. So I'll remove border, right? So you see, if I come here now, click on this, I'm clicking on that. So the next thing I have to do is to assign action to it, right? So I'll say web URL. So this is where I'll put the URL, say www.linkedin.com, right? Once that is achieved, I will put a tooltip. I'll say visit our website, right? When I come to this place, you see an over on it, you see visit our website. So that was how this was basically achieved, right? Then for this, I did, this is also dynamic. So I created an update measure. How that was achieved, I did is I said last updated, right? Some people will use today. If you use today, it will return only the date, but I want to also capture the time. So that was why I said now, right? So you use a function called now. Then this was just created with only text box, right? I just created by David Obeh Alobo, and that was how all this was created, right? So to say if I click on all this, it is dynamic, right? It is dynamic, right? All this. So you see 2014 profit breakdown for West, right? If I click on South, you see 2014 profit breakdown for South. You can also change this, right? So for you to change the header, once you click the visual, but you must have created the measure already. So what you do is you come to your title. When you come to your title, can you see FX? So when you click on FX, right, it's asking you for the measure. So when you click on the measure, you say, okay. So when you do that, you find out that this also will also be dynamic. So that was how all this was created to be dynamic. We can still do more to this, but for the purpose of this class, for this presentation, we won't be going into all that.
Superb work, David. I don't know if you can hear me at all. Can you hear me? I don't think you can hear me. Yeah, maybe now you're just.
I don't know if they have any question or anybody has contribution with respect to the topic we just addressed.
David, that's good. Let's really fantastic presentation. I think everybody here is really happy for with what you have shown us. And maybe I should just really just go back and note that earlier when you wrote the measure for BG and header 2, and you showed us how to add that into the FX, and you're wondering why it wasn't working, it was because you used header 2 instead of BG in your conditional format. That was why. So some of the guys from the meeting caught that, which was really good. But other than that, really, really happy. And so someone else, John would like to know, David, can you compile? I think you and I talked about it, but can you compile a short tutorial that is written that shows these formulas, and then someone can in their own time walk through? I can see you nodding. That's awesome. And okay, I can see a question here from Abiodun. It's thanks for the presentation. Can you go over the need for the disconnected table that you created in Power Query?
Okay, the disconnected table basically is for you to be able to do the dynamic measure. Okay, sometimes we want to do reporting across with respect to different KPI. For example, we want to see, we want to have a dashboard for cost, we want to have a dashboard for profit, we want to have a dashboard for quantity ordered, we want to have a dashboard for sales. You don't need to do all that. You just need to have it on one particular dashboard, on one page, just like I've done. So the disconnected table is to enable you select, right? Can you see the way I'm selecting it, right? So if you come to the measure where we did the dynamic measure, you can see we use the, we pointed to the disconnected table here. So that was what is bringing that effect.
Yeah, so it's really good use of that. I can see you put it into, is what you put into the KPI, and what allows you to the KPI card there, or the filter rather, yeah, what allows you to switch between measures that will be displayed in the chart. So that's really good. Any other question? One final question before we round up. Okay, going once, twice, and I think that's it. Yeah, the class was really insightful. We're getting some comment here for David. So David, thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity
and your interest in teaching others. I think it's you're going to higher places. It's going to get better as you teach us, and also this is from what I discussed with David, this is part one. When he has more time for us, he's gonna take us on another episode. So this is also I'm trying to motivate you guys out there. If you have something interesting, get back to me. I think I will take up the next one in 2 weeks. So if nobody gets to me before, Wednesday or so next week, I will take up the next one, maybe to encourage others. And as we round up, actually, right, I would like, you guys we want your, feedback on how we can improve this. So in the comment section, I added a form. It takes you like 20 seconds, really. And it would be good to get your feedback on this episode, right? And also how we can improve it moving forward. Yeah, I'm really happy that, yes, guys, you will get the recording. So please give us some time to package it. We'll be hosting this on the RESA website. David also is going to get, a breakdown, like a written tutorial for you to follow through in case you don't want to watch this video. But it's been awesome, guys. And yeah, so please help us with that feedback. If you'd like to join the community, the Resta Data community, this time it's on WhatsApp. You would have access to that if you fill the form. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. It's awesome, and thank you for supporting this. It's the start of something wonderful. So cheers, guys. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
Have a lovely evening, everyone.
I you too. Thanks.